So this is separate from the title deed stuff you said?
Yeah, this has nothing to do with the title deed stuff.
Oh,
It's
okay.
more technical, but because it's the beginning of the year, and I feel like this is going to be really, really helpful
Oh yeah, yeah,
for
yeah.
everybody. So, all right. So, a little bit about why I find this so valuable is because when I first got into the real estate thing, some of you guys know me. Yeah, I like to think I'm a pretty ambitious person. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it is what it is. I like to be active. I'm very extroverted. I like stimulus. I like to do things. And so when I got into the real estate thing, the whole real estate domain, I thought it was incredibly fascinating and incredibly interesting because there's so much to learn and there's so many things that you can do and so many ways you can skin the proverbial cat. Um, and so I was doing some stuff. I was making, I was doing some deals. I was making some money. It was more money than I ever made in my life, and so I thought it was pretty good. And something in me though knew that I was still missing something, and something was not working the way that I maybe thought that it could. Maybe there's some potential that was not being realized. Whatever. So early in 2020, I think it was early in 2024. Yeah, it was early in 2024. I went to Las Vegas with two guys to Ryan Pineda's WealthCon. Big event, a hype event. It's pretty much like all the events are. Not saying there's no value, but it's whatever. But what I got to see there was a bunch of people who were significantly high earners, and they were very productive human beings. And one thing that I could not deny is that they had zero amount of time more than I do. Somehow, though, they were able to accomplish more with their time than I am. And to me, that demanded that I look within and say, okay, what am I not understanding and what am I not doing? Because if they're able to accomplish what they're able to accomplish with the same amount of time, not a second more, not a second less, but the exact same, something is missing for me, right? And so what I learned is that being busy and being productive do not mean the same thing. In fact, it can mean almost opposites. And so I learned that I was busy, I was a little bit productive, but I was not as productive and organized as I could be. And so at that time, I kind of had like a envisioned or had like a glimpse of like the mark that I could become, because now I had somebody to, like, I had something real, not fantasy, that I could compare it to. And when I thought about this, like the mark that I believe that I could be and where I was at, there's a gap there. I'm not there. And so what do I need to do to get there, and what does it even look like to get there? And for me, uh I had to take an honest, hard look in the mirror and be completely, bluntly, brutally honest with, okay, like, where am I really at today? And I walked away with a couple of things. Two of the big things that I walked away with was that I'm very disorganized, I'm not a good manager, and I'm definitely lazy. And it's interesting because when I went back to South Carolina, where I was living at the time, I kind of shared that with a couple of people, and nobody said I was lazy. And I appreciate that. I appreciate the recognition, I guess. But the facts of the matter is that in contrast to the potential that I believe that I had and the mark that I could become, dude, I was lazy. And the only person that can do anything about it is me. Now, for me, I can either make an excuse and justify my current position to stay there, or I can say, okay, like, I want to move the needle in my life, not because I want to make something of myself, but I believe that if I actually accomplish what I want to accomplish, then a lot of other people's lives will be blessed and enriched and influenced in a positive direction because of what God has given me to steward. Okay, you following me here? We're tracking?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. I think it's common sense, but sometimes you just, maybe it's not so common. Maybe, or I'm just weird. I don't know. Maybe both. Whatever. So I got connected with Brandon Turner's group, and he's a Christian. I'm not sure if he at least is a very overt professing Christian, but he's a big name in the real estate sphere, and he was one of the co-founders of the Bigger Pockets network. And so as I don't know where he's at today, but as of last year, he was the owner of over 13,000 units and over $1 billion in assets under management. And he started from nothing. He started just like we are. But he learned, and I've gotten a glimpse into what he does, how he thinks, and he's adamant. He reads 50 something books a year, constantly trying to improve himself, holds himself accountable, sets goals, surrounds himself with the right people, and like you can see the results that have transpired in his life. And he does what he says. He's an honest guy. So how do we get there? So the first thing that we have to do, right, is what I want to do now. And so I want to do this collectively and like set goals as a team to like make this business something that's like profitable, desirable, edifying. It's like a facilitation device of what I have in my heart is really ministry, community and ministry, discipling people. And I think business can be a great facilitator of that. And so, not being there, okay, where are we really at? Where am I really at in my life? And so this wheel here has 10 different categories of life. Now it's not all encompassing, but it's got pillars, like major feats of life in it. And being completely transparently honest, we don't necessarily have to do this now, but I want to at least kind of explain the process so that we can do it effectively and do it right. Because if you really, really genuinely care about your life, like I don't see why this would be a bad thing. This is not going to waste your time. In fact, like I've put a lot of content out on Facebook about, doing real estate, how you can make money in real estate, the ups and downs, the pros and cons, like a little bit of my journey. And I've had several people reach out to me and ask me, hey, like, let's do something. Can you help me? And my initial question is like, what are your goals? What are you trying to accomplish? And I would give this to them and I would ask them to do this. Fill this out and reverse engineer your goals, down to the best of your ability, down to like weekly habits and actions. If you're not willing to do this, I can't take you seriously. If you're not willing to do this, you will not be willing to endure the hardships of playing the entrepreneur game. It's just not going to happen. And so this to me is kind of like a gatekeeping tool to see how serious people really are about moving the needle in their life. If that makes sense. And so you're going to see like, this is actually going to take a lot of cultivation and reflection, prayer. Maybe it's not going to be a one and done thing. And I would encourage you to do it with your spouses. If you have them, obviously, if you're not married, then that's a moot point, but at least really think about it. Like, and then look at each of these categories. Do you have money and finances, career and business? Now they are separate. Okay. So this spirituality mindset piece, I would say, I would transpose that question and say, where am I at with God? Like, how is my ministry? Growth and learning, am I actually being proactive about learning things? And that it's going to, success in that's going to be dependent on how you define it. Like that could be really getting grounded in the scriptures. That could be reading business books, learning about financing, learning about real estate, learning about stocks, economics. Whatever it is, but it's not wasting time on things that do nothing for you. So, if you're married, how is your marriage? Like what's on, and it's all going to be on a scale of 1 to 10. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you today, as of this moment, rate your life in this category? The next one is child and parenting. If you have kids, how is your relationship with your kids going? How are your kids developing? How is that? What's the dynamic look like? Are you happy with it? Are you not happy with it? So on a scale of 1 to 10, again, where would you put it? Friends and community. How satisfied are you with your social life, church life? To me, I can tell you off the jump, this is going to be one of my main focus points for this year. Friends and community. My environment and location. Like, okay, are you living, in a house you don't like, a small apartment? Are you living in, an area you don't like? Have you learned from experience that not all dogs go to heaven and sometimes they bark at you and want to bite your ankles? And like when you go outside of your own house, like there they are, or do you got to deal with the trash getting slammed every morning at 3:30 in the morning? That sounds like a gunshot, like these kind of things. Like, or are you content? Do you really like where you live? Are you happy with the environment that you've constructed around yourself? And you're going to have to rate that. And then the next one is fun and recreation. Like, do you have time in your schedule that you do things that you enjoy? Maybe it's your family, maybe it's the gym, maybe it's the trampoline park, maybe it's going on a kayak, going fishing, going snowboarding, whatever it is. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, how content with you on things that you do for enjoyment on a regular basis? Next thing, health and fitness. Where are you at? Health? Are you fat? Are you out of shape? Are you overweight? You know what I mean? Like, are you too skinny? Are you weak? Like, where are you at with your health and fitness? And then basically, like, the goal is to take on a scale of 1 to 10. And I would suggest not going with a 7 because it's easy to go with a 7. Take an honest look and say, today, where I'm at today on June 7th or January 7th, 2026, where am I actually at in each one of these categories on a scale of 1 to 10? And obviously, if there doesn't, like, some don't apply to you, then they don't apply to you. And that's fine. It is what it is. And then once we can grapple with that and take an honest, transparent, genuine look in the mirror and say, this is where I'm at today, okay, then the next step is to pick probably three of these categories, okay, that are the most important to you, that you feel like have the most, like, that stir you up the most, inspire you the most, encourage you the most, that you have the most desire to improve, and then focus on those three. And then out of those three, the next thing is to envision in 5 years, like, what would a 10 look like in that category for you? Like, envision that, like, because the Bible says where there's no vision, there's people run wild, or they cast off restraint, or they perish. So vision is incredibly important, because if we don't have vision, we don't know where we're going to go. We have no idea. Right. And so my analogy to this would be like, okay, like, I live in San Antonio, well, now New Braunfels, Texas, but I mean, say San Antonio just for the sake of simplicity. So I live in San Antonio, Texas, and I'm trying to go somewhere in the Northeast, right? And that could be New England, that could be Maine, that could be New York, that could be Pennsylvania, that could be New Jersey, that could be Maryland, Delaware, that could be Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island. So I'm just going to be very vague and say the Northeast. So if I put in my GPS, my Google Maps, and said, hey, here I am, I'm trying to go here. Well, dude, that could take me a broad swath of a destination. I could land in a place that's 800 miles away from where I maybe want to go. I don't know, right? And so if I can say I want to go to the Northeast and restrict it to New England, well, now I've restricted New York, Delaware, Maryland, Pennsylvania. So now I'm looking specifically at maybe Maine, Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, Connecticut, Rhode Island. All right. But even then, that's still huge. Like, if I put in, I'm going to New England in my GPS, my GPS might take me through Houston. That might take me through Louisiana, up through Shreveport. It might take me, then going up to Tennessee and Kentucky. I mean, I just don't know. Or maybe I could go up through Dallas, and then, Oklahoma, and then maybe through Kansas. And that's going to make a difference, right? It's probably a bad description, but I think you get what I'm trying to say. Like, if we don't know the goal, we don't know how to get there. And so, like, but what if I said that, okay, I want to go to Massachusetts? Well, obviously Massachusetts is a much more narrow scope of focus than all of New England for a ton. Obviously, like, it's Captain Obvious showed up, but like, it's good to sometimes reiterate the obvious, because it matters. The basics are what's going to build us, and what's going to move the needle is mastering the basics. So, but Massachusetts is still pretty big. So I could go to Cape Cod. I could go to the North Shore. I could go to Boston. I could go to Worcester, Massachusetts. I could go to the Berkshires. I mean, there's a bunch of places. It's still small compared to Texas and Florida, but I mean, it's still large enough that my end goal could be drastically different and look drastically different. And the destination to get there is going to be also different. So let's say within Massachusetts, I'm able to refine it to Boston. Well, now I'm onto something. So like San Antonio or Boston, okay, that's great. But even then, though, like, Boston's still relatively large. Like, I could be going to Cambridge. I could be going to Suffolk. I'd be going to Chelsea. I could be going to Revere. I could be going to Charleston. I could be going to Southie. I could be going to the North End. You know what I'm talking about? I could be going downtown, Bunker Hill, all them things. But if I don't know where in the city, I'm still like, okay, once I've got there, okay, now what? But if I can restrict it to be even more specific and say, I want to go to the USS Constitution and the Charleston Navy Yard in the city of Boston. Well, now it's going to take me down to I just got to find a parking space. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So,
Yep.
so like, where are you really at today? And then in 3 of these categories, what does an ideal situation look like? And if you don't know, don't just fudge it. Like, actually take time to reflect on it, pray through it, talk about it, process it, and say, okay, like if let's use money and finances, like actually really, what would financial freedom look like for me? How much money would I need to be making to liberate my time? And even beyond that, like, how am I going to get there? Like, do I want passive cash? Do I want active cash? Do I want to do it through real estate? Do I want to do it through stocks, annuities, bonds? Like, how do I want to do this? Like, what is that going to look like? Because if you want to go and learn stock brokering, well, that's a totally different situation than real estate investing. There's a lot of overlap in principle, but it's still like, if you're going to learn to master structuring real estate deals and negotiating real estate, well, that's great if that's what you want to do. But if you want to build, a portfolio of stocks in the New York Stock Exchange, ETFs, S&P 500, all that stuff, like you're taking a different direction. You know what I'm saying? And so, getting real clear about it, think about what you actually want to accomplish, and write it out, draw it out. That might change. It probably will change a little bit with time as you mature, as life circumstances change. But if you can at least get a North Star, like a focal point of what ideal looks like. Let's say I think we're talking about John, if John could be making $30,000 a month, right? That's $360,000 a year. That would suit him to live his life however he wanted to. All his bills are being paid. He's not worried about where his next meal's coming from, where his next paycheck's coming from, and he can live how he wants. He can do what he wants with his time, whatever that looks like, however he defines it. But $30,000 is going to get him there a month. Okay? Well, how are you going to get that cash? So we could say, okay, we want to build a wholesaling and flipping business like Results Driven or like Heels Homes or whatever, or like whoever else is doing it. That can happen. But it's different than going and acquiring a bunch of real estate like rental houses, mobile home parks, apartment complexes, RV parks, whatever it is, that are going to pass, that are going to cash flow for you. Is one wrong or one right? Not necessarily. No, it just depends on your goals. What are your goals and how do you envision getting there? What are you more happy with? What drives you? Would you rather own real estate? And if you want to own real estate, do you want to own single family rentals? Or do you want to own duplexes, quadplexes, multiple, 40, 50, 60, 100 unit apartment complexes? Do you want to own mobile home parks? Maybe do you want to own a campground, a golf course? Like, what do you want to do? None of these are wrong answers, but it just helps clarify, like, what am I actually trying to accomplish with my life, right? Like, how am I going to get to that $30,000 a month? You follow me here?
Yep.
Like for me, when I think about community and friends, like I have an idea of what that looks like. At this very moment, it's probably still a little bit more vague than I want it to be. So what I'm going to have to do is pray through this, ponder this, talk with my wife about this. Say, okay, what does ideal community look like? Okay. And then what are we going to do like today to move the needle in our life to make that real? Okay. Finances is the easy one. So like, okay, this year, one of my goals is to add at least $1,500 a month in passive cash flow. And I plan on doing that through acquiring at least 5 new rental properties that are going to produce at least $300 a month in cash flow for me per house. Does that make sense?
Yep.
It's a very specific goal, and I've already thought through this. So, okay, like, how do I do that? What am I going to have to do to make that happen? So maybe like one of these deals that we happen to find, when I'm a little bit more recovered from like this past year, I'm a little bit more cash flow, cash position stronger. Like you might just assign the deal to me. I might just be the end buyer, and I might buy it if I like the deal. That way our company makes money and I buy a house that cash flows how I want it to. Follow me? So that could be a way that we do this, that I reach my goal. But I want to make sure that this is really like you guys are clear on how to exercise this or execute this.
Yes, I am.
You following?
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay. So
Specific.
boom. So once you do this and we get really, really clear on what ideal is going to look like, okay, then you can utilize this and go to the category here. So this is all kind of in there for you. Pick 3 categories. Okay, where did you rate yourself? Why did you give yourself this score? Okay, because we need to know where we're coming from, where we're at, so we know how to move forward and what changes we have to implement and able to move the needle in our life in the direction we want to go. You following me? This is what successful people do. Anybody you look at that's successful, that you venerate, whether it's in politics, business, sports, or whatever, like I'm 100% positive, dude, they're very detailed on their goals and they're very disciplined in how they order their life. There's no question about it. So these are the categories you want to focus on. Okay, boom, boom, boom. And so you have, so like, let's say money and finance, where you're at, today's date, the date 5 years from now. Okay. How much income do you earn today annually? How much income do you want to passive, so this is even passive income. How much do you want to earn annually in 5 years from now? Okay. So this is going to take you through the thought process. And the goal is we're going to say, okay, in 5 years from now, this is what a number 10 looks like in this area of my life. Okay. And in this area of my life, okay, what do I need to do in the next 12 months? So let's say I want to be earning, let me just break it down. Let's say you want to earn $25,000 a month passive cash in the next 5 years. Okay. So math, just let's break down the math. So that would be like adding $5,000 a month per year passive cash. So you follow me? So that's $5,000, then $5,000, that's 10, then 15, then 20, then 25. So at the end of 5 years, if you add $5,000 a month into your passive cash, that would net you 25,000 cumulative passive cash per month per year. You following what I'm saying here?
Yep.
Questions, comments, concerns?
No.
All right. So my 1 year goal by the end of the year, by the end of December 2026, let's say that's my goal. What do I need to do to add $5,000? So my 12-month goal is going to be adding $5,000 a month to my passive cash flow. Now, how am I going to do that? Okay, what does that look like? Now, okay, let's break that down to the quarter. Okay, so in 3-month increments, I'm going to need to add $1,250 a month to my passive cash flow in order to reach that goal of $5,000 a year. So, okay, now I know if I want to add $5,000 a month to my cash flow, I'm going to need to add $1,250 a quarter to my cash flow. So how am I going to do that? So let's say you're averaging $300 a month in cash flow houses. That would be you adding 4 houses, say 4.5 houses, so 4,151, 4,151, whatever, to your rental portfolio, right? And that would be every month you're adding at least 1 house to your portfolio. Now, how many deals do you need to analyze to buy 1 house? Where are you going to buy these houses? How many offers do you need to make after deals you analyze? How are you going to structure them? Are you going to buy them subject to? Do you want to buy them owner finance? Do you want to buy them creatively? Or are you just going to go and get a loan from the bank? That's all part of the strategy. That's all part of the thought process. Because again, instead of going to New England, let's go to Boston. Instead of going to even better yet, if we can take it from Boston to go to the USS Constitution in that parking lot, now we're really surgically specific, like aim small, miss small, right? If I'm aiming for the eyeball on the head of a deer with my rifle, I might miss the eyeball, but if I hit it in the head, it's still going to die. But if I'm just, I'm just wildly aiming and I'm just aiming in the vicinity of the deer, I'm probably going to miss it. See what I'm saying? So
Yes.
dialing in your goals with specificity is a huge game changer. And then we can, just like I'm just kind of throwing out there, like we can reverse engineer the goals, right? And so what we'll do is once we figure out, okay, what do we need to do? Like if you want to add, I'm just using this example, just for the sake of simplicity, let's say $1,000 a month of added cash flow per quarter. That would be let's say four houses. Say four houses, and that would be 12, 16. That would be buying 16 houses a year that you want to buy to make that happen. Okay. It's a little more than one a month for a quarter. Okay. So then you basically just need to figure out, okay, how many offers do I need to make? How many deals do I need to analyze? And then once you do that, then you're going to break it down. Okay. Within the quarter, I have 12 weeks. So in 12 weeks, 12 weeks. So within 12 weeks, if I need to analyze, if I need to, offer on, I don't know, 48, I need to make 48 offers in order to buy 4 properties. Or whatever it is, 5 properties. Just roll me for the sake of simplicity with the math. Well, if I need to make 48 offers, how many offers a week do I need to be making? How many offers a day do I need to be making? So like how many, like it's kind of like the results driven, my KPIs, like how many deals do I need to analyze that's going to get me to making 4 offers a week? And so part of my day now, if I know that I need to analyze 5 deals a day, part of my day, I'm going to analyze 5 investment property deals, whether they're MLS, they're wholesalers or whatever. So like now part of my day is specific for this specific thing and if I faithfully follow through with this, I'm going to change my behavior by either removing things that don't add value to my life and adding things that do add value to my life that are going to help me get to my goals. Now I will be able to take action that's going to move the needle in my life in the direction of the goals that I have set for my life in this particular category. Okay. You following me?
Yes.
So one of my goals last year was to improve my marriage. Now the challenge with this is that it's not like that's a kind of it's vague on how it's a process goal and an outcome goal. So what does improve my marriage really mean? Well, to me, I kind of have an idea of what it means, but that's not really reproducible. So one of the things that I had was every single day, I'm going to pray with my wife. I'm going to give my wife a hug every day. And I'm going to read and do some kind of a Bible study with my wife, even if it's only like 20 minutes a day. Like doing those things will help strengthen our relationship. I also wanted to do once a week. I put it on my schedule to take my wife on a date. Now that can be a little bit challenging when I've got 3 kids, but that was something we strive to do. So we went on more dates in 2025 than we did probably in the last 8 years of our marriage. You following me?
Yes.
But that took intention. That took me getting out of the inertia of the way my life was going and resisting it and forcefully, changing the trajectory in this area, which took intentionality. It took accountability. It takes, me resolving in myself, like I'm going to make this happen. Following me?
Yes.
Yep.
So basically we'll take 3 of these 10 categories and dial in on them, right? And we'll dial in on them and reverse engineer them to get clear on how do I incorporate this into my daily rhythm of life. So that might mean we exclude social media engagement. And instead of that, I'm going to read a book. I'm going to instead of playing Facebook for an hour, I'm going to read a book for an hour that's actually going to enrich me and educate me and teach me, right? Or I'm going to pray for an hour. I'm going to read my Bible and I'm going to pray for an hour. You can't tell me for a second that would not be a valuable exchange of time. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So this is going to help us reverse engineer our goals so that we have a very intentional, structured day that's going to take us from being busy to being efficient and productive. And as we go, we might need to make, slight adjustments and alterations because, things change. We might not see clearly today how to get there, but if we're open and we're accountable to each other, we can make the pivots where necessary. Follow me?
Yes.
Yep.
And so if you guys are open to it, maybe we can come back next Wednesday, and have this filled out. And if you have any questions or comments or concerns with the reverse engineering of taking my 5-year goal and breaking it down into a 1-year goal, like a 1-year process goal. And then we take the 1-year goal and divide that down into quarters. And then from the quarters, we can do it into the month, and then from the month to the weeks. It might sound tedious, but I promise if we're actually willing to do this, it's going to make this was a huge difference in my life, a huge difference. The challenge is sticking with it. So like when I look at my Google Calendar, like my Google Calendar is very compartmentalized and very, organized because of doing this. Like I have my goals that I've set for myself and I've implemented them into my calendar, and I've had to modify it a few times as things come up and things change. But for the most part, this is what I want to hold myself accountable to, the standard that I want to live out because of the goals that I have for my life. Questions, comments, concerns. So last year, my health and fitness was one, finances was one, and my marriage, spouse relationship for me. Now, if you really find value in this, and this is impactful for you and important for you, then we can kind of make it interesting, because let's say you have a goal of buying 4 houses in the first quarter of the year, just hypothetically speaking. If you do it, like if you succeed in your goal, like how can you celebrate that? How can you celebrate the win? Like how can you reward yourself for the win? And now that's the answer you're going to have to come up with. And then if you don't do it, like how can you put a consequence in there for not doing it? And I remember the guy that introduced me to this was like, yeah, if I don't hit my goal for the year, like I'm going to vote for Kamala Harris. And I can't, that's not possible. I can't do that. So like, I'm not going to fail. But I know the guy, like if he didn't, he really would have voted for Kamala Harris if he didn't hit his goal. You tracking with me? So if y'all here, I'm sure you probably have at least one point heard of a SMART goal. You know what a SMART goal is? It's an acronym.
Yep.
So it's specific, measurable, right? So like measurable, I want to buy 4 houses. That's specific. I can measure that. It's attainable. So if buying 4 houses in a quarter is attainable, whereas buying 400 in a quarter is really not realistic. It's relevant. So my goal needs to be relevant to what my overarching goal is, and it needs to be time bound, time specific. So specific, measurable, realistically attainable, relevant to my goals, and time specific. But I would say that we should also make it a smarter goal, add an ER at the end, which is exciting. Does this goal excite you? Does it inspire you? Does it fire you up? And then is it risky? Meaning, is there a chance you might not succeed? A smarter goal. And I think if we engage this and take it really seriously and really envision our lives and what we want our lives to look like and be like in like when we really reach, I would say maturity is maybe not the right word, but maybe potential. When we realize our potential, what does that life look like? And basically, what do we need to do today to start moving in that direction? And we just need to be very specific, very concrete, not abstract, not vague, very specific, very dialed in, so that way we actually have a really detailed plan to go in a specific and certain direction. Again, think about the sniper. Dude, the best guys that snipe are trained snipers. They know how to shoot. They know exactly where to aim to hit the target they want to hit. If I go out into the field and shoot that deer, man, and I just shoot from the hip, I'm shooting in the general area, but dude, the likeliness of me hitting that deer is very, very small. Actually, with that analogy, it could be dangerous because I could hit something that should not get hit, right? So just something to think about. Any comments, questions, concerns? I don't like this. You're crazy. So here on the bottom, you have a main goal. You have a main goal 1, main goal 2, main goal 3.
Mango.
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 Tropical.
Mango.
Yes. this will help you. I would strongly suggest printing this out and going through this like really thoroughly, really detailed, especially with your wife or your spouse if you have one, and writing it out, dude. By the end of the year, I will. Why? Why am I doing this? Why is this goal important to you? And when you what's your reward? If you accomplish this goal, what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to take my wife to Lake Tahoe on the California side. Well, then, I don't know. It doesn't really matter. You track it with me? You following what I'm saying here?
Yes.
Annual goal number 2, annual goal number 3. And that's the way it goes, man. And then you can brainstorm here. What are some possible actions and habits and constraints? So like, are there things that you're doing now in your life that are actually an encumbrance and hindering you from doing this? Like what are you doing in your life that's wasting your time, that's sucking your time, that's could, and maybe I would say should be used towards things that are going to actually help. So like, if you want to lose weight, for example, like how is your diet? Do you need to stop eating Twinkies or donuts or like pizza? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, is that something I need to withhold? Because when I actually add this into my life, it actually moves me backwards. Other than that, what are some habits and actions that I can implement in my life that are going to move the needle in the direction in which I want it to go? Do I need to begin to wake up early in the morning? Like, okay, waking up 4:30 in the morning, an hour in the Bible, I go to the gym for an hour. Like, is that something that you need to do in your life to be able to reach your goal? Maybe. Are you like, is this goal important enough for you to be able to do that? Because it's going to require sacrifice and discipline. But again, if you want to reach your potential, it's not going to happen without the sacrifice and the discipline. It's never going to happen. It's a pipe dream. It's all it is a dream without any action and a plan to get there. And so, and this is going to draw you all the way down, man. So I would suggest really going through this, like, quarter 1 goal. What is it? You're going to do this. Why is this goal? I mean, you don't have to do it all, but you can maybe amalgamate this all into one kind of thing. What are the obstacles? Like what's getting in your way? Is it time? Is it money? Is it, what is it? I don't know. And so it'll walk you through kind of some of this stuff pretty good. And then it's going to give you some, boom, there you go. And so here on the last page, you have a weekly habit tracker, action tracker. So if you like this, you can just print it out and print it out once a week. You can mark the week here in the top. What's the goal? 1, 2, and 3. If there's something in the week, like it's called the weekly one. It's based off of the book that I think, John, you have. It's called The One Thing from Jay Papasan. It's like, okay, if I want to improve my marriage, whatever that means, what's the one thing that I can do? Like, what's the main thing I can do this week to make that happen? Is it maybe cooking my wife breakfast? Is it, I'm just, who knows, whatever it is. Is it like going on a date? Is it whatever? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the one thing? For me, if I want to build business, if I want to, build in my acquisitions team, like, okay, what's my weekly one? Okay, master the sequential marketing theory, business-wise. Now, based off of all this stuff you've done up here, identifying actions, habits, and constraints, like what do I need to do and what I need to stop doing in order to make these goals more real and to move my life in the direction to make those goals happen. Here's what I got to do. So you have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Okay. So let's say for me, one of my goal number 1, wake up at 4:30 in the morning, 5 days a week. So Sunday and Saturday, that's not my priority, but Monday through Friday is. And so my goal is 5, target 5 days a week. I want to hit 5. And so at the end of every week, I'm going to make a check mark in here when I get it right. And I'm going to put an X if I get it, if I don't, if I fail at it. And then at the end of the week, I'll say I've got 4 out of 5. I've got 6 out of 7. I've got 1 out of 3. I've got 3 out of 3. You know what I'm saying? And then you add it up and see this is what I've been doing. And it's my percentage. Like out of the goals that I've set for the week, how successful was I actually putting them into practice? 87%, 71%, 93%, whatever it is. And like, you're going to be able to see the trajectory in your life. Okay. If this week I happen to drop the ball huge on this, well, what happened? Did I not take it seriously? Was I undisciplined? Did like my son have to go to the hospital and I stayed there with a week for him? Like, that's obviously a pretty serious thing. Like, obviously that takes precedence. You know what I'm saying? But like, what's going on? And I think if we can really take advantage of this, we can really, like, you see it here. Okay. A rental property analyzed 5 a week. Okay. 1, 2, 3. So you got 4 out of 5. Meet with an experienced investor for coffee or lunch. Okay. So 1 time a week. He did it twice, 2 out of 1. So you see the total target of actions, 39. He executed 34 times. So that's 87% success rate this week. I know this is meticulous and it's probably like, maybe it seems like it's a lot, but how bad do you want it? How bad do you want to make $30,000 a month? Are you willing to do something that's weird, uncomfortable, and new? I can't answer that for you. I can only answer it for myself. For me, failure is not an option. Setbacks happen, but it's not failure. How I respond to the setback is going to determine failure or not. Does this make sense, guys? Do you have any questions about this?
No, it makes sense.
No,
What do you think?
makes sense.
Any thoughts?
Yeah, we're
Very
gonna.
good.
I mean, like I said, we're gonna try to do it this week. So
It's very detailed. This is very detailed
Very-
on purpose.
It's good. I mean, no, it's I've never done
I
anything.
feel like
this.
I did it, we did it last year, and my main goal was my finances, and if anything, we went backwards.
Yeah,
So it's tough.
I'm here.
But
Yeah, I lost a lot of money last year, and it is what it is. It's but it's not. Yeah, it sucks. I get it. Well, what did you learn from last year? How do you not repeat that? What do we do this year to move the needle in the right direction? And with this being said, I'd like to also converge together as a team and make one of these for this company, for this business. And it's probably mostly going to be around money and business and what that is. Maybe environments, maybe growth and learning and stuff like that. But for the most part, I am committed to, like, once we close these couple of deals and replenish the reserves and, move on to the next one, like, I'm committed to working with Alex to continue to refine and master this process to really move the needle in this and be solely focused on just bringing contracts that we can sell. That's, I've really processed this a lot, dude, a lot. Like, I've had so many conversations with myself over the last couple of weeks to month or so. And it's like, okay, where's my heart at? Where's my mind at? Where am I at? And I'm pretty determined to just zero in on this and exclude pretty much everything else until this is really a good machine. So that's part of my goals for this. So what do you think?
there's a guy asking if the Baytown is available.
Tell
He
him,
wants to
yeah.
know what the payment is a month.
You tell him it's definitely available, bro.
What's the payment a month?
That's a Daniel question.